Hey guys, welcome back, Bushcraft Family, with another video. And as you've seen on the title, this is pertaining to Charlie Kirk. Before we get started with this, I must say I am very, very disturbed on some Americans in this, and I don't even like to call them that. Some people in this country that are cheering, are making joke videos, and all these things. There's so many videos of people that cheered after the assassin did what he did in the crowd where he was speaking. Very, very disturbing. I don't care if it's a enemy that you can't stand or whatever. You do not carry on and act like this. That the people today doing these things and making these videos and cheering for another human, you're not just, if you dislike this person, fine. But there is more things involved in this. He had his family there. They have to live with that thing that happened the rest of their lives. It's horrible. I mean, but it doesn't seem to get in people's brains that a human life is no more, and everything that human would have done throughout the rest of his life is gone. The impact he would have had on his children, on his wife, the country, even if you don't like him, that there's a cutoff of compassion that this country has lost. We've lost two of the things that, well, make it three, actually, and that's a good point. Three things this country has lost. One, compassion. Two, patriotism. And the third one is God. And I think if we got back to, bringing religion back into schools and whatnot, and at this point, I don't know if it would do any good. Maybe for the next generation, but the generation that we have now, imagine their kids. And I'm not trying to put anybody down or anything like that, but the disgust I see. I've been trying to find little things here and there, and anyways, let me get to the coverage of this, what we know now. And by the time this comes out, probably there's going to be a whole new story about this, but I figure it's good to get this out to where, people can kind of follow along with it, I guess. Anyways, they have footage of the individual. They also found his rifle in the woods. They have footage of him getting there and leaving there. They have, videos of this and that and the other. They have a palm print, a footprint. elbow. They have, and again, the DNA will probably come out if they don't already know who this is. Who knows? But I'm going to put, and I usually don't do this, but I'm going to put up a couple images, and these are images of the suspect. It's not saying he is or he isn't, but they're asking for information about this guy. If anybody knows, you're supposed to contact, the FBI, and 1-800-CALL-FBI, and give them the information that you have, whatever it might be. But they have, like I said, they have the rifle. They have his direction. He went through the neighborhood into the woods, and from there they lost him. They're asking for help from the public now. They went through these two communities that he ran through after the college, and they're going through, ring cameras and security footage and all kinds of stuff. And again, they say, trust the process. It's still very hard to trust the government agency when we went through a lot of stuff, last few years with the FBI being a little shady. So hopefully things pan out. But again, they have the timeline down and all of that. That they found. I'm sorry. It's every once in a while I'll pop something up and it's some guy screaming a hard woohoo. This our society right now is so cut off, and Charlie himself talked about this endless times. Could go back to 5 years ago when there was lockdowns because of this and lockdowns because of that. And, schools were shut down. You had to do remote this. Workplaces were shut down. Everybody got stuck in a box. And the only way they can communicate, and I don't even have mine with me, was the cell phone. And they can communicate back and forth. And they got cut off from humanity. There's no compassion in that little thing. And people have got cut off. And I'm not just saying it's the younger people and stuff. Another, get up here. Come on. The other news, the Ukraine girl on the tram or train, whatever they want to call it. The people just sat there and watch. Everything happened, multiple, and she basically rolled over, fell on the floor. People are just still sitting there watching, not doing anything. One person gets up and goes to help this girl after it's all done and the guy's gone and everything. But then it's too late. I'm not saying that anything could have been done or anything, but the thought of doing something, and I'm not saying I'm a hero or whatever, but if I seen something like that happening, they couldn't stop me from trying to help. Uncontrollable urge would have got over me to go get up and stop this from happening. I may not have done anything to help or whatnot, but the thought of me getting up or the thought of me just sitting there and watching it happen, I don't see how anybody could do this. And you can say pull the race card, well, as a white girl, and there's all other races there, so they're not going to do anything. I did see an image that it was all white people and a black woman sitting there in the spot of the Ukraine girl, and the caption it would be, if roles were different, cities would be burning right now. And that is true. I'm not saying that, we should all be going out and hooting and hollering like this, but we should be demanding something to be done. If it's just the lawyer or the judge being booted out and fired or whatnot, there's so. And again, I'm not saying it's, the Gen Zs or Gen Alphas that come after them. I'm not saying it's them, because look at the Philly game. The lady comes over, there's a foul ball, home run, or whatever it was. The ball lands on the ground. Nobody has it. The guy goes over and grabs it off the ground and gives it to his son. The lady comes over, the Philly fan comes over and starts screaming and hollering, calling him all kinds of names, and you stole this from me. It was in my hand, which it wasn't. And he just didn't want the confrontation, so he takes the ball and gives it back to the lady. Being a stand-up person, he was. Now this lady's all over the place, and of course, social media runs with it and makes all these things. Oh, she's been fired. She's been this. She's been kicked out of her place. All this crap. None of it was true. She still works for the same company. But the fact is, that was, you would call that person a Gen X person. But that's not how we do, how we grew up that way. You could have been pissed off that you didn't get the ball and everything, but you don't go over there and steal a ball from a little kid. Again, this is where we're at. We have been cut off from reality, cut off from compassion, and it's horrible. It really is. How do we fix it? I know. We need to get back to the Word of God. He needs to be more involved in our lives to show compassion. I mean, whenever I see these videos of Charlie Kirk and his daughters running up to him, it gets me, knowing that's the last thing she's remembering is that stuff. And I don't understand. Even if I didn't like the guy and I couldn't stand him, that would still tug at my heart. But people just don't get it. They just watch this stuff and it's just blank. They have nothing there. Anyways, let me get this jerk off of the screen. I want to thank everybody for watching. I don't know how much more of this I'm going to put on here or whatnot, but I think it's good to get it out, maybe. Anyways, like always, God bless.